Today's new drug is midweek installment of our little get-together today. And, oh, by the way, what a game for the Gators last night.
Absolutely.
That was a good win. I got a lot of thoughts about that.
That was a one-seed win.
Yeah, it was. It was a, I got a lot of thoughts on it, but that's exactly right. It was one of the better teams in the country playing, finding a way to win on the road when yet another player goes down. We'll get all of that, but that's a one-seed win is well described. So we'll certainly talk about that. Chris Harry's going to join us in about an hour, top of the 5 o'clock hour. He covers the Gators for FloridaGators.com and does a fantastic job. Really the only media guy, I say media guy, he works for the team, but the only writer that travels to every Gator basketball game. So nobody knows the team better than Chris does, and he's on our show on a regular basis. So he'll be with us, and I'm looking forward to that coming up later on in the program. The whole Title IX thing is getting interesting again now that the Department of Education has revoked guidance on Title IX and athlete pay. This is a crazy story. Have you followed this story at all?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So Brett Hastings is going to be in studio today. He'll be here in about 15 minutes. Sports and Courts in studio to really kind of break that down. It's a terribly interesting storyline, at least to me. And so what does that mean? Again, the Trump administration statement Wednesday overturned a memo the Office for Civil Rights, the division of the Department of Education that enforces Title IX law, issued in December about how gender equity laws will apply to a new era of college sports that's on track to begin this summer. So I'm telling you, just when you thought you saw all the craziness in the world of college athletics, more craziness came down this week. So it's going to be crazy to see the way this thing plays out.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, again, this was something that I think schools were expecting. And it was a little bit of a curveball when we had the ruling a month or so ago in the previous administration saying, nope, this needs to be subject to Title IX. And, again, I'll be interested in hearing, Brett's thoughts on it. I will say that Title IX is supposed to be, it's in place so that the same athletic advantages are there for both men and women. I think the problem with the revenue sharing and trying to make that be part of Title IX is that's almost a totally separate thing. Like, that's not creating opportunities for women to play sports and to have the numbers be commiserate with the student body and the numbers, and this is how many females go to this school, this is how many males go to this school, so that needs to be reflected in the athletic teams that are available. And so it will be interesting to see, but I think this interpretation is probably going to be the correct one in terms of, yes, they, as long as all the female athletes on your campus are getting the same opportunities to play as the men are, I think, that in the facilities and things like that, it can't be, right, overwhelmingly different. But in terms of the revenue sharing, I don't think that's going to apply, but I'll be interested in hearing what Brett thinks.
So Brett will break that down. So Chris Harry at 5 o'clock. Talking Gator basketball and another big win, maybe an update on Condon, Alex Condon, to see how healthy he is or isn't. And I think the Gators kind of dodged a bullet with that one.
Looked awful.
When he went down, he was in such pain.
And it was such an awkward.
Well, what was interesting, his left foot stepped on Melendez's foot, but his right foot got tagged. Usually the ankle you roll is the one that steps on the foot. He actually, if I get this right, and Chris will clear it up for us, his left foot stepped on Melendez's left foot, but his right foot got caught under him, and I think the right one's the one he injured.
And he got pulled down.
Right.
Which was,
that's what Todd Golden was upset about.
Yeah, which added to it. So it was very awkward. It almost looked like sometimes we see quarterbacks, running backs almost get bent back a little bit, right, as the tackle is completed, particularly if it's multiple defenders. And it looked, even though this was obviously just, two players, but the way in which Condon went down and the way that he was pulled, it kind of looked like something you'd see on a football field. So yeah, it looks like Florida avoided the disaster of a season-ending injury to Alex Condon, and it certainly I mean, he's playing at such a high level. It's a loss regardless. But at least if you're Florida now, you look at your next 4 games: home against South Carolina, they're 0-10 in the league. A home game against Oklahoma, who's 3-7 going into tonight. A game at LSU, 1-9 in league play going into tonight's game, and then at Georgia, who lost last night to drop to 4-8 in league play. So for the next 2 weeks, Florida probably doesn't need Alex Condon. If he's not cleared, they can probably get around not having him because they're going to be at a profound athletic advantage over the next 4 teams they play.
And that's the question we'll ask Chris Harry. Do you hold Condon out because you have an easier schedule now and you've kind of done a lot of what you had to do? Or if he's ready to go, do you put him right back in against South Carolina on Saturday night? Right. That's the question.
I think if he's ready, he'll play. I think it'll just come down to, is it like Walter Clayton where he just really needed a few days? In Condon's case, if that's it, he'll play Saturday. I mean, they now have, several days off until they play again. If it's more of a Janai Broom injury, then you're talking about a couple of weeks and again, Florida with its schedule coming up, not that any of these games are, easy, but they certainly are playing 4 teams that even without Alex Condon, they should be favored.
Yeah, 4 unranked teams. They just played 4 ranked teams and they played 4
and all 4 of these teams are really struggling in SEC play.
And interesting, and I don't think they're going to win the league, but I know we for a couple of weeks ago we said they probably won't. Well, we'll say this. Alabama and Auburn are both 10-1, and one of them's going to lose on Saturday.
Right.
Okay, and they're both 10-1. They play each other Saturday. Florida's 8-3, and is probably going to win Saturday. Okay, Condon or no Condon, right. I think they're going to win.
So you'd be 1 game back of the loser, 2 games back of the winner.
That's correct. And I think if Florida wins, that's exactly what it's going to be. And you've already beaten one of those 2 teams, and you have a game against the other one. Now you have it on the road, but you have a game. Texas A&M also was having these conversations. They're also 8-3, but I don't think Florida's going to win the regular season title, but I like the fact that we are midway through February, and we're going to be in the 3rd week of February, and that's still in the conversation.
Yeah, and that was a thing, too. Again, that was one of the things with Mike White that was disappointing. It was like they could never, even remotely contend for the SEC. They were always, in the 8-9 spot. The tournament would start, and they'd be, the first game, once you got beyond the day, once you get beyond the first day where it's just all atrocious teams. But that was the thing. It was you'd like to see Florida at least be somewhat of a contender for the league title, and Todd Golden has definitely delivered on that this season. I mean, Florida hosts Texas A&M, so I don't think Florida's going to win the league, but I do think they're in great position to get the double bye. Yeah, and if that happens, then you're talking about not playing your first game until the quarterfinals on Friday.
The significance of Todd Golden, if this is who Florida becomes, and I got a long conversation coming up later about football schools and basketball schools, and if this is who Florida's going to become, Hays, not only were they rarely in that spot with Mike White, other than Billy Donovan, they were rarely in that spot in the history of the program. That's the thing. In the 100 years they've had a program, you take Billy's 19 years out of play, they were almost never that team.
Yeah, because Kruger's 94 team didn't win the SEC.
No, and by the way, and that was a great one-off team.
Right.
But it was a one-off.
Right.
It was.
But they got to the Final Four, but did not win the SEC. They didn't win the regular season, and obviously they didn't win the tournament.
Norm Sloan's team won it in '89, but it was a one-off.
Right.
They won the regular season title on the tennis balls when they threw the tennis balls at Shinsis. They won the regular season title, but it was a one-off. It was Lon's 94 team was a one-off. This looks like it could be sustainable when you're one of the. That's the difference. So we'll certainly get to that coming up in the program. Also, the coordinators meet the media tomorrow. Grant Udinsky, the offensive coordinator of the Jags, Anthony Campanile, the defensive coordinator, and, of course, Heath Farwell, who we know. I've got a thought about that, and we'll hear from them tomorrow, and so at least you'll be able to you won't learn a whole lot, but I'm glad the Jags have made them available. Jags have done a nice job in this offseason kind of taking us through this journey, so I'm glad they're going to be available to the media, so you'll be able to hear their comments. I'm sure it'll be streamed live, so not just us, but fans can hear that stuff too. So I'm looking forward to that. That comes up this week or tomorrow as well, so we'll certainly get to that. So Jags, the coordinators meet the media, the Gators win. I do want to get to the NFL next year. You touched on it in headlines last night about power polls and whatnot, but I want to touch on that a little bit more. Kadarius Toney's in the news, not in a good way. So we got a lot of fun things and bad things and good things to get to on the program. But let's take a break. When we come back, it'll be Sports in Courts Title IX, a new the presidential administration has made a decision that has people jumping around and talking about Title IX once again. Brett will break it down for us legally after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Happy New Year from everyone at Nimnick Chevrolet. Now look, as they begin 2025, Nimnick is so excited to offer even more choices and better prices for you, ensuring your car buying experience is second to none. And if you're wondering where to go for a better buying experience, it's simple. Nobody but Nimnick. So here's to another year of driving forward together. And don't forget now, in this new year means new truck time at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. It boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor, and ask about a terrific low rate as well. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
1010XL is your home for Jacksonville University basketball.
The Dolphins float their boat west to extend their win streak against Central Arkansas. Tomorrow night at 7:30 on 1010 AM.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or cater desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Boots, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So guys, keep helping me out and grab a Dandy sandwich today.
Looking for a unique way to boost your team's spirit or raise funds for an organization? How about a thrilling, action-packed game of poker at Best Bet? Experience the thrill of poker while enhancing teamwork and communication skills. Whether you're a novice or a pro, our expert dealers will guide you through every hand. Enjoy delicious food, refreshing drinks, and a lively atmosphere, all at Best Bet. It's the perfect blend of fun and games. Book your team building or charity event today. Visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
Visit Monahan Jewelers now through Valentine's Day for savings on all GIA-certified diamonds and discounts store-wide up to 40% off. And interest-free financing on all purchases. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. Monahan's has it all. We're not a chain store. We're your local family jeweler since 1977 with a world-class inventory of fine jewelry and diamonds and gemstones available in any size. Support your local family jeweler now through Valentine's with huge savings in our inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Friday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL's Gator Bites podcast wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
The Golf Club of Southampton has plenty going on, from a great round to a round with your buds, soaking up some football and great grub. Every Saturday and Sunday at Southampton, enjoy their game day special. Wings tossed in your favorite sauce and a cold pitcher of beer. Membership opportunities to take advantage of, too. Join Southampton with a paid initiation, and you'll get a $500 gift card. Perfect for golf, pro shop purchases, or the clubhouse. Check it out. It's all happening at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
If you're cooking for your sweetheart this weekend, Southern Steer Butcher has you covered. An easy-choose Valentine's Day special menu with the best meats in town. Full V-Day flyer at southernsteer.com.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Choose C for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. They can transform your backyard with fire pits, pergolas, screen enclosures, and outdoor kitchens. And CSS handles the entire project from start to finish. You dream it, they build it. CSSOutdoor.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports and Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
All right, Brett Hastings is here, and he's always here when we have important legal details affecting the world of sports. And, boy, we have a big one today. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, bro.
You got it.
Okay. So tell people what happened today as succinctly as we can so they're not confused the issue.
Right.
Essentially, Title IX ensures the equality of spending among both men and women's sports.
At its core, Title IX says that you're not going to discriminate on the basis of gender. Okay. And how that gets to sports is that Title IX says that when federal assistance is involved, right, you need to do it equitably. And what we've seen over the years in sports is Title IX mandates that there need to be as many women's sports as men's sports. Well, there isn't a female football, right? So a lot of times we've seen these other sports that are created so that athletic programs had the same, amounts and the numbers. And so over time, just what Title IX has kind of meant is that there should be equal spending towards, the number of opportunities.
All right. So given that, the Biden administration made a recommendation last year that same principle should apply to NIL.
Right.
Hang on. And so the Department of Education today or this week came out and said, no, it shouldn't. Is that kind of the overview?
Right.
Okay, take us through it.
Joe Biden, on the way out the door, asked the Department of Education to issue what's called a fact sheet, okay? And so sometimes we hear about things that I would say have more credence, an attorney general's opinion, other things. And the difference between a fact sheet and, say, something like that is that, there's notice, there's hearings, there's a lot of legal opinions that come out. This was a more political, I would say, thing, but it was persuasive, at the time. One of the first things that Trump did through the Department of Education, which may not even exist, right, coming up, is to say that's not going to be the case and that Title IX is not going to dictate the way payments are going to be for name, image, and likeness.
How do you think that will hold up legally in terms of where it goes from here?
Okay, ultimately, I think it's going to be held up because I believe name, image, and likeness, is an individual matter. Okay. The money that you're making to pay for is to use, if Tim Tebow were playing or Charlie Ward were playing at the time, to use that, right? There was a lot of value that went with it. What the other side, people, these are going to get challenged. And what they're going to say is there's a settlement that we believe is coming in the NCAA versus House case. As a result of that, money that athletic departments earn through a myriad of other ways, tickets,
right,
using these athletes' media rights, are going to be paid to those students. What's proposed right now is that's $21 million, and that they're going to split that up. So they're going to try to say that's not something really related to name, image, and likeness. That's the payment of players, and they're going to say that that payment should be in proportion between the genders. I think this is going to go up through the courts, and I think ultimately it's going to be upheld that that money's not going to have to be split on that basis.
Well, to that end, I can tell you I was told that, and Hays was too, because we were told at the same time, that essentially the way this happens in colleges, well before there was a House settlement that's going to be $21 million, is that the big NIL schools were raising about $20 million, okay? Maybe that's why that's the settlement number. And of the $20 million, $13 million, Hays, I think I got these numbers we were told right, $13 million went to football at most schools. Roughly $4 million went to men's basketball, and the other $3 million is split among the rest of. Isn't that what we were kind of told?
Yes.
So $20 million, okay? $13 million went to football, okay? $4 million, these are rough numbers, but it's your standard Power 4 schools. $4 million went to men's basketball, and the other $3 million is spread among the other 12 sports. Well, if this Title IX thing went through, you couldn't do it that way. And you're saying you don't think it will. I guess that's.
I don't think it will. But a lot of what goes on in the law is how you label and structure things, right? So if you say we're going to pay $20 million for the name, image, and likeness use of our athletes that we, as an athletic department, profit of, then I think you can break it up in that proportion. Okay. If you come in and say this is to pay, we're going to pay players to play at UNF and JU and FSU and Florida to go out and to go win on the thing, then there might be more of a gender-based argument that you would make and say that you need to split these things up. I think they're going to go and structure it in such a way that there'll be benefits and they'll use this money for the different players, but it's going to match up, and it should match up to those revenue-producing
that's the key.
Things, right?
But again, based on what we were told, Hays, if the 13-4-3 model, which we were told is everywhere, was accurate, well, the first $17 million is going to all men. Then of the remaining $3 million, it seems like it'd be split 50-50. I mean, based on what we were told, right?
Oh, at best, and again,
at best, again, that was what we were told by somebody that kind of would know.
Well, what we're doing in the the elephant in the room is, are you an employee yet? Right. Do you get workers' comp for breaking your leg if you're Alex Condon last night? And are you getting paid to play for the University of Florida? Or are we giving money to you for name, image, and likeness that surely wouldn't implicate those things? And I feel bad for athletic directors. I feel bad for a lot of these people because they just want to do what's right by people. And there's so much legal uncertainty. What they need to do is get this House settlement worked out, and we need a czar, we need a commissioner. As much as we want to boo Roger Goodell, the NFL's doing pretty good, guys, right? But it's because you can have some centralized decision making and do things that are important, right? Look out for players, look out, make sure that these quarterbacks and other people, we could lessen the need for concussions or whatever. And as a governing body, I think the NCAA is and always has been the worst in sports, period. Okay. And now you're going to go and put a whole host of issues on here, and you're going to take probably the most unsophisticated and most reactive agency in sports, and they don't know what to do. So what I'm hoping is, I know a lot of it's happening quickly. I know a lot of us, we're big college fans, and we have a little bit discussed as to how some of those things go. But I think if we start redistributing these monies the right way, and we start getting the type of support and stuff that we need for everybody and do it the right way, in time it'll work out, and it'll be good. But, I think we all know football, basketball, these other things generate more money than other. And guess what? If we make a lot of money, we can have phenomenal facilities for women's softball and gymnastics at Florida State and at Florida and all these. So everybody is getting opportunities, but it's not just a gender issue. There was a story the other day. OnlyFans models made more money than all the players in the NBA, right? So that's a free market economy where people, I guess, are spending money out to do that. And I was shocked to think that somebody that was on OnlyFans, I don't know anything about OnlyFans, is making more money than LeBron James, right? So as we work towards closer to being to professional sports, what we're just seeing is, hey, there's not less money being made in college athletics. The colleges are just having to share it with the guys who made the money for them. The business proposition's going to work. You see the stadiums at Alabama. You see the stadium in Gainesville. You see the stadiums at these places. We've just got to figure it out, and we all want to do it so that we can maintain the traditions and we can keep the things in place that we love about college athletics. You know?
I final thing. When it all comes down, the House settlement, what we just saw today, it's going to be a disaster, do you think? Will there be legally? Will there be legal fights left and right over stuff, or will people finally say, okay, we now have some rules, we now understand how to do it? Because that's the hope, right? Is that there will now be some guidance? Will it be like that, or will we see legal fights all over the place?
I think there'll be a paradigm that will make things work a little better for a while.
Okay.
But there will continue to be legal challenges that will reshape the way everybody works. The thing from the outside looking in is, are student athletes going to be defined as employees, and will we get to a place of collective bargaining? That will be the biggest thing that I think has to happen. That's not coming out of anything, the way the NCAA House settlement is. I think what's going to happen is, we're living in a fantasy land right now, right? It's pay for play.
Yeah, it is.
Would you say they're raising $20 million to do what? To get good players to play for them.
Right.
Not so they can go in and say, we love your name, image, and likeness, and we want to compensate you on that. We want the best 6'2" cornerback that runs a 4.3 40 that's a ball hawk. That's what is really going on. And so I think people have got to get real, and we've got to kind of get the labels right, get the structure right, and work through all that stuff.
Interesting stuff. Great work as always. Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. That is Sports and Courts. Thanks, bro.
Take care.
Back in a moment on 1010 XL 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
We pretend to entertain.
They are the morning team known as The Drill.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry, is that funny? Are you stand-up comic?
Right here on 1010 XL.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice. Watch the roulette wheel spin and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star. Sip cocktails that shimmer. Then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now. Only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa. Located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-10-MINUTE.
Did you know your pup could take 30,000 to 60,000 steps a day at Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard? That's a whole lot of tail wagging fun with their best furry friends. At Dogtopia, they turn playtime into exercise, learning, and socialization in their off-leash, open play environment. Dogs build confidence, reduce anxiety, and stay happy and healthy, all while having the time of their lives. Visit Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard today.
These days, we do everything from our phones. That's why JEA's app lets you manage your utility services anytime, anywhere. Whether you want to view your account, pay your bill, sign up for programs, or check the outage map, you can do it all right from the app, when and where it's convenient for you. Because we want to make doing business with us as quick and easy as possible. Download the free JEA app from the App Store today. JEA, your community, your utility.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. This Saturday is our monthly card show, Inside Showtime, with 20 tables of selection ranging from football cards to Pokemon cards. From 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. This Saturday, it's an in-store card show. At Showtime, Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
My name is Paul. I'm 58 years old. I lost 45 pounds thanks to the Awaken 180 program. Before Awaken 180, I was drinking Pepto out of the bottle at night to go to sleep from heartburn. I was struggling getting up and down the stairs, like tired all the time. I didn't know that's how it wasn't supposed to be. I just accepted that's how my life is. And then one day I said, it doesn't have to be this way. I made a decision to change my life and I chose Awaken 180, and that was the best choice I ever made. I needed support. I'm a person who needed support. Awaken 180 provided that support for me. They changed my relationship with food. I changed it with their guidance. That was the whole thing. I had to change my relationship with food. And I learned how to eat. I learned healthy fats. I learned all about sugar and what it does to me. And I just learned a new way to live.
A change Paul and I both needed, and we received with Awaken 180. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Tax season is here, and your refund can go further at Big Chief Tire. Frank Frangie here. Put the extra cash to work by investing in your vehicle, whether it's overdue maintenance, brake repairs, or new tires. Their skilled technicians will help you get the most out of every dollar. With 5 Jacksonville locations, fair prices, and trusted service, Big Chief Tire has everything you need to hit the road with confidence. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Mia here. You want to know what I'm so over? Resolutions. You want to know what I am into? The Revolution, hitting the road in a new Toyota from Arlington Toyota. So what do you say? Join the Arlington Toyota Revolution and save big with financing as low as 0% on select new models. Or get up to $8,500 off select new Toyotas. Plus, every new Toyota purchase from Arlington Toyota comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty and 60-day exchange. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/0% for full details.
You know, many plumbers won't quote prices over the phone and instead charge a service fee for an in-home estimate. Of course, because they know once they're in your home, you're probably not going to send them away. But Roland Reach Plumbing is different. Roland will give you a price quote over the phone, and there's never a trip charge or service fee for an estimate. So if you've got a leak and can't wait a week and don't like paying unnecessary fees, call on Roland Reach Plumbing at plumbingjacksonville.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
I'm Chris Campione. In a world of big box law firms with satellite offices, there's something special about having a local legal team that cares about you and your community. We're not just lawyers, we're your neighbors. We understand the unique challenges facing the Jacksonville community because we live here too. At Campione Law, Campione Cares isn't just a tagline, it's our commitment to you. Campione Law, your trusted lawyers after an accident. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione, Campione Law.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ LaSelva with you as we continue along on this Wednesday installment of the program. Basketball talk coming up at the top of the hour when Chris Harry joins us from FloridaGators.com. Let's start with a little NFL talk. I do think this, and maybe we'll feel differently after we hear from them tomorrow. Again, Grant Udinski, the brand new Jaguars offensive coordinator, Anthony Campanile, the brand new defensive coordinator, and of course Heath Farwell, who you know, the special teams coordinator, all will meet with the media tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So the media will have a chance to, and I think that my guess is it'll be streamed. So
it will be. They announced it.
Yeah, so fans will be able to watch the press, which is kind of that's the new wave, by the way. In the old days, only the media went to a press conference, and then you had to trust them to tell you whether. Now you can go on your computer and watch the press conference. So which is really cool. So I think what we'll see. Here's what I'm wondering: if there's been a criticism of this staff from the outside, from outsiders, it's an awfully young group. But you know what, Hayes? you could make the argument that the best coach on the staff last year, the best assistant coach on the staff, was Heath Farwell, right? I mean, he's the guy you brought back. Well, isn't it possible, maybe even likely, that Udinski and Campanile are the 2024 version of what Heath Farwell was last year? Young, energetic, guys connect with them, guys play for them. I don't know. I've never heard either guy. I mean, I've just watched clips of them. We'll hear from them tomorrow. But isn't there, and I know I'm always glass half full guy, I know, but still, isn't that a real possibility that that's what we see and get from these two young guys?
They'll definitely be able to connect with them and relate to them. It's just a question of, can they command the players' respect? Do the players feel like these are guys that are putting me in the right position to succeed, putting our team in the right position to succeed? And obviously, that's going to take some time. Players will start to get a sense of that in meetings and things like that and during install and OTAs, but it's really not until you start playing in the regular season that players are going to quickly figure out whether the coaches have the goods or not. So, but it certainly, in terms of building up the relationships, things like that, I would be surprised if they have a lot of trouble because they're two young coaches, and so certainly having such a close age discrepancy, I think helps that without a doubt. But ultimately, it's going to be, can these guys do enough schematically to earn the respect of the players? Because if they're not putting them in a good position, it won't matter that they like the same rap group. It's that none of that's going to matter. It's going to fall apart pretty quick if the players don't feel like you're putting them in a good position to win.
That's right. And to that end, we're not going to see that till they play, I suppose, or at least practice. But having said that, I would think they vetted. You hear good things about these two guys. Farwell, and
he's a proven commodity.
Yeah, you hear good things.
The special teams will be good.
Yeah,
we know that.
Right.
We'll see about the offense and the defense. We know the special teams here will be good next season.
Well, A, same coach. B, same kicker, punter, snapper. Okay, two of whom were in the Pro Bowl. The other was a rookie kicker that missed like nothing. And then so I agree with you. But back to the point. Two guys that were really highly regarded are going to be guys that I think. Listen, is it a little surprising that there wasn't an older veteran guy? There's a few in a role of significance, maybe. But I'll say this: I'm looking forward to hearing from these guys tomorrow. I want what's their vision. I can tell you what their goal is. They all want to be a head coach one day, right? So what's their vision of how this part of the journey will help get them there? I'm intrigued by hearing these guys. Campanile is the one I really want to hear from.
Oh, he'll be the star of the show tomorrow.
You would think, right? He's the energy guy.
Well, and just Udinski is sort of in a tough spot in that it's Liam Cohen's offense.
Yeah.
So
right.
I mean, he's got to answer questions and kind of be mindful of what would the boss say here. Whereas Campanile will really, I mean, he's the defensive boss. So, I mean, that will be much more interesting. They'll both be really interesting.
Right.
I mean, just the fact that it's not Press Taylor and Ryan Nielsen makes it really interesting. But the fact that that Campanile is the defensive mastermind and really doesn't seem like Liam Cohen is going to really interfere too much with him. He said, I want to have a connection there. But it's certainly going to be the defensive coordinator's moral compass on the field. That will be his product on the field.
Yeah, he's the head coach of the defense.
So that will be the big story tomorrow is defensively, what do we learn about what they will be doing?
Yeah. I mean, you're going to ask him, what's your scheme? 4-3, 3-4, a lot of man, a lot of cover 2, Tampa 2, a lot of cover 3, zone, man. What are you going to – now, my guess is he's not going to reveal a lot of that, right? He's not going to tell you, here's our plan, here's our scheme, here's what it looks like. Let me draw it up for you on the whiteboard. I don't think you're going to see that.
Right.
But
a lot of times, too, it's how the question is asked. I mean, and so, a lot of that will, in terms of what is shared, we'll see. I would just say, look, if you had a all-pro player at every position, which you'll never have at this level, obviously, but if you had that, what would be your preferred scheme? Right. If you had every talent that you could have,
right,
what would you run? And that that gives you an indication of at least what he'd like to get to. He he may not have the players to do that yet, but yeah, I mean, I think defensively it'll be fairly revealing. Again, he'll keep some of it to himself.
Yeah, but 3-4-4-3 is a standard question.
Well, that and like Armstead, he should have a pretty good idea of what he wants to do with Armstead. That shouldn't really be hey, I need to get into OTAs and see what he looks like, or training camp. I mean, again, this is one thing that goes back to his boss, Liam Cohen, who was basically said, I think he told you, look, we saw Armstead. I saw firsthand what he could do when I was in LA with the Rams.
Right.
He's an interior player.
Right.
But things like that, how he views corner opposite Tyson Campbell. How he views a player like Foye Oluokun, who's kind of been lost in the shuffle here, but is an outstanding player.
Yeah, well, they really botched that last year. They of all the things that Ryan Nielsen put in play, taking Foye Oluokun, who regularly was leading the league in tackles as the middle linebacker, and moving him to the Sam linebacker spot because he played in space better than Devin Lloyd, in retrospect, was crazy. Yeah, I get the logic of it. Devin is more of a standstill, downhill middle linebacker. Foyer's a guy who's better at running around and playing in space. But you had a guy that was making all the tackles. That in retrospect, of all the things they did, that one made no sense. No sense, really. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see. We'll talk. So tomorrow we'll talk a great deal about what we've heard from the coordinators who meet with the media in the morning. I want to go back to this power poll. You kind of touched on it. I think you did the ESPN one, right?
I did.
All right. Chiefs, Bills, Lions are 1 through 3. You made the point yesterday that the Eagles aren't as highly regarded. They're only 4th. Ravens 5th.
I mean, how could you possibly put your name on that?
Yeah.
I'm not an Eagles guy.
Yeah.
But how could you possibly watch them win 16 of their final 17 games?
Yeah.
Know that their quarterback, running back, receivers are all young guys,
and wallop a lot of those teams. The last 2 games they played weren't close.
And then be like, oh, I'm going to put them 4th.
Yeah.
I could kind of see maybe 2nd if you're still, wrapped up in the Chiefs. I could understand that. But to have the world champion Eagles 4th, when it doesn't appear like they're going to get ravaged at all. I mean, it's not like a bunch of their players are free agents, or they're going to lose 4 guys to retirement.
And to your point, Hayes, they weren't winning games with 53-yard field goals at the end of the game. They were dominating teams really during a lot of that 16-1 stretch. So I agree with you. So they're way too low. What about the other teams here? It's got Chiefs, Bills, Lions, 1, 2, 3. Do you like that? If you take Philadelphia, let's say Philadelphia was on top of all.
Yeah, I would put Philly. I would say it's going to be. We're going to need to see more than one bad game of football before everybody buries the Chiefs. So I have no problem with the Chiefs being that high. We will see about Travis Kelce. It seems like now, before the Super Bowl, he was committed to coming back. Now he's wavering in that a little bit. So we'll see. If they lose Travis Kelce, obviously that changes things for them. In terms of Detroit, I think Detroit will be good just because their personnel is so good. But certainly losing 2 coordinators, I mean, that's a challenge. But yeah, I'd have no problem with them being in the top 3. And then Buffalo, yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue. Look, Buffalo was an inch away, maybe less, from defeating Kansas City. And then I do think Buffalo would have played Philadelphia closer. Right. Not that that's a high bar, but I do think Buffalo would have matched up better against Philly than Kansas City did. So, yeah, I mean, I think that Kansas City, Buffalo, Detroit, they absolutely deserve the recognition of being up there. But Philly should be 1.
And
I
Detroit
mean, at worst, Philly should be 2.
And Detroit gets Hutchinson back. Detroit gets Detroit. If you think of what Detroit did with all the losses, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, is pretty good work.
And I have a feeling Detroit, even though obviously you can't reflect this in the power ranking yet, I have a feeling they're going to get either a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett, which will make them freakishly good.
All right. Here's what's interesting to me. 6 through 10. Commanders 6, Packers 7, Chargers 8, Bengals 9, Vikings 10. I think what I like about that list is there's some new players.
Yeah, and there's a drop off.
Yeah.
There's the upper class. There's the upper class in the NFL with those 4.
Yeah,
and then there's a definite upper middle class.
Yeah, because well said. Because this group it's a bunch of new people.
Right.
I mean, how many? I mean, the Green Bay the Washington Commanders are 6th. Where were they to start last year?
28th,
probably. Yeah, and so they're 6th on this list. The Chargers are suddenly 8th on this list. The Vikings, who are going to have to play a then technically rookie quarterback, you would think, right?
You would think.
All the way up to 10th. It's it's an interesting list. If you didn't hear this list, Hays read it yesterday on headlines. And if you didn't hear that, the Texans are 11th on this list. The Jaguars, the Colts are 23rd. The Jaguars 26th. And the Titans are the last team on the list. So, interesting stuff.
Yeah, it is. The fact that, the division doesn't have a top 10 team, which I think is fair. I don't think Houston should be in the top 10. I mean, they may end up having that kind of year, but I think for where we stand now, maybe they'll make some incredible acquisitions this offseason. But I don't think they should be in the top 10. But it is interesting looking at those teams. Green Bay, they've got to find a receiver. The Chargers, they've got to find receivers. Washington, you're going to be dealing with what looks like a superstar quarterback, but, we thought that about C.J. Stroud, and he had a tough second year. So, until Jaden Daniels is able to perform at an elite level for multiple seasons, there's still even a little bit of trepidation there with that pick. And Minnesota, I mean, to me, Minnesota could finish 6-11 next year.
Right.
I mean, I think there was some significant smoke and mirrors with the Vikings. So now, assuming they're not going to have Darnold, obviously you love Jefferson and Addison at receiver, but yeah, I mean that's one. If I had to take the over under on where the Vikings will finish in the final power poll, I would take under. Where they have them here. They've got them 10th.
Yeah,
I would say they will not finish in the top 10 of the final power poll.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I don't think they're going to have that. I don't know that they'll be terrible, but I definitely do not see
J.J. McCarthy
11, 12-win season.
J.J. McCarthy is a rookie. What you saw from Jaden Daniels doesn't happen. Okay, he's a freak show. J.J. McCarthy will not have – he's a rookie next year, no matter what the rules say about when he's a rookie next year. He didn't play in what would have been his rookie year. So I would agree with that. So it'll be fun to see. It'll be interesting to see. Hey, by the way, I want to remind you, we want to thank our friends from JU who had us out yesterday. We sure do appreciate that. The auction's still alive by some of those big items. I do want you to go to their website. It's juday.givesmart.com. I want to say it to you again, juday.givesmart.com. Man, I'd love to see you go on there. There's some great items. All expense paid trip to Lake Tahoe and a hockey game while you're there. An all expense paid trip to Vegas and a hockey game there. A trip to Orlando to a Magic game and a VIP experience when you go behind the scenes. There's so many terrific items. Going back into the New York Stock Exchange and getting a behind the scenes look at that. Again, juday.givesmart.com, and they're raising money for that terrific athletic department. So if you get a chance to go on there, and you'll be glad you did. All right, Chris Harry's going to join us in about 10 minutes or so. And I look back at that Florida basketball game last night. If you didn't watch it, Florida had to guard against the letdown because they had the biggest win in school history in terms of biggest regular season win, biggest road win ever. Lost Alex Condon, who's their second best player, by the way. He's their second most important player. Clayton's their most important player. I think Condon's their second most. Lost him 20 seconds into the game to a bad injury. You knew he wasn't coming back. Already we're down Elijah Martin. So you're playing the entire game without two starters. Now, Denzel Aberdeen and Thomas Houck are pretty much starters. You just can't play 7 at a time. But they would be starters about anywhere. I mean, Duke, Iowa State, Kansas, they'd be starters about anywhere. I probably didn't realize how good Aberdeen was. What a wonderful player. Florida, they clunked through a first half. They're down 34-33 at the half. It was kind of an ugly half. Nobody made shots. They're getting out rebounded and pushed around a little bit. They go to the break. I remember thinking at halftime, Florida still might win. Florida's a better team. And
missed a lot of open shots in the first half.
They'll outlast them a little bit, and They came out in the second half. They went on a 17-0 run to start the second half, making threes from everywhere, getting loose balls, getting out on the break. I think that might be the moment for me. I think that stretch without two starters, coming off a big win on the road against a ranked team, I think that might have been the stretch that impressed me the most of anything they've done this year. And they beat Tennessee by 30 points. They went and they led Auburn by 20-some points and still beat them by 9. They've had these great wins. But to have all that, to overcome or to not be let down, to be on the road against a ranked team that's probably a tournament team if they don't completely collapse, on the road against a ranked, probable tournament team, down 2 starters, clunking through a bad first half, I think that early second half stretch might be as impressed as I've been with the Florida basketball team all year.
Without a doubt, because when you lose a player like Condon 20 seconds in, you haven't prepped. Like, they were ready to not have Elijah Martin, so they had a plan for that. But when you lose Condon, first off, how often do you lose a player in the first 20 seconds of a basketball game anyway? It almost never happens.
Correct.
But you're not ready. So you've now, on the fly, got to survive those 20 minutes on the road, which they were able to do. They were down 1 at the half and missed several wide open looks. But yeah, and then to come out and have that 17-0 run where you force 6 turnovers. Mississippi State was sloppy, but again, that's part of being elite in sports, is that you don't beat yourself. We see it in football all the time. You see it in any sport. Don't beat yourself. Well, Mississippi State started to beat themselves, and Florida took full advantage of that. So they got 6 turnovers. Some of those, Mississippi State basically handed them the ball. But they took advantage and built up a huge lead, and you have to love the character of Thomas Houck and Denzel Aberdeen. Aberdeen scored 20 last night. He's averaged 14.3 points a game in the last 3 games, with Clayton out for 1 and then Martin out for 2. So he has really stepped up, just as you would hope to see. And Houck did something last night that no one in the SEC's done since John Wall in 2010, with 16 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Off the bench, Thomas Houck did this. So just some incredible effort, incredible skill. Walter Clayton Jr., again, 19 points, 6 assists, only 1 turnover. And in the second half, the shots started to fall. And Florida shot 54.8% in the second half after only shooting 36.7% in the first half. And that was it. It was the shots started to go down, and Florida got a huge quad 1 win without Elijah Martin and Alex Condon. And I agree with you. I mean, their mental resolve, they're certainly talented. They're a very, very talented team. But their mental resolve of what they have been able to show, really the only thing that I thought didn't work last night at any point was Sam Alexis. He really struggled.
Yeah, he's overmatched.
Yeah, but other than Alexis, Klavzar hit a 3, did some nice things. But I mean, really, it was Clayton, Aberdeen, and Houck. I mean, it just basically saying we refused to lose this game. And Mississippi State, I thought, once they got punched, I thought they wilted.
Yeah, I'll say this too. We are in the age where you've got to make threes. You can't beat anybody when you don't make a bunch of threes. Well, with Aberdeen now making 3, when he squares up, I expect it to go in. With Klavzar now in the rotation, and I think he will be in the rotation even when everybody's back, and he's a dead-eye shooter, Houck now looks more comfortable shooting threes for the first time. You
got to defend it.
Yeah, right. And so,
he's good enough that you've got to defend it.
3 of them last night.
You can't just watch him shoot that.
Yeah, so he's a comfortable. That's 6 guys who can make threes. That's 6. Let me rephrase that. I mean, Alexis made threes, Condon made threes, but I'm not counting them. I'm talking about 6 guys who regularly will make an open 3. 6. That's 6 players on your team. I'm telling you, it's a really good team. So let's take a break. Chris Harry knows that team better than anybody. He works for FloridaGators.com. He joins us after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
The home of the home team you grew up with.
Jimmy Smith was given a chance with an expansion team.
And what a quality person as well, a leader of this football team.
Jaguars pride forever. 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
I'm Holt Harrell. I was talking to someone the other day and they were shocked that some lawyers get more from a case than their own client. After paying bills and costs, if we are supposed to get more than a client, we won't. That's the Harrell and Harrell promise. When we say that we treat our clients like family, we mean it. If you've been in an accident, call us today. 251-1111. Harrell and Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. In today's world of retail, how has a store like Underwood stayed viable against the big national stores?
Frank, that's a question with a direct answer. At Underwoods, we've never aspired to be the biggest. What we've always tried to do is be the best. When you take this approach, there's some things that come to mind immediately, like fine quality merchandise bought by buyers that are experts, high levels of service delivered by a staff that are helpful and know what they're doing. Then there's some things that people don't really think about at all, like the finer a gem, the more rare it is. And these gems are not mass producible because they were made by God millions of years ago. Because of that, there just aren't enough of these for the big multi-store retailers to buy and put into their merchandising schemes. So at Underwoods, we buy these finer, rarer gems and create jewelry pieces that the people in Jacksonville expect out of us.
When you want the best, it's Underwoods. Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, and at the shops of Ponte Vedra.
This month, 1010XL shines the spotlight on African Americans in our community who have made the First Coast a better place to live. I'm E.T. Listen for my stories during Black History Month on 1010XL. Brought to you by Instant Keys and McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center.
Roses are red, violets are blue. A broken pipe? That's no way to woo. This Valentine's Day, don't let plumbing or HVAC problems ruin the romance. Whether it's a leaky faucet, a backed-up septic tank, or a heater that's colder than your ex's heart, Duck Rooter is here to save the day. Our expert team will fix it fast and at a fair price so you can get back to the love you deserve. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Prosser here, still telling you about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures is keeping the sale going into February. Enclosures starting at only $89 a month, and if you get a complete enclosure done, you get free flooring. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring is running a buy one room, get the second room free. Now offering floor coating for that garage or patio deck too. Give them a call or visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about how God never fails us. In the Bible, Christ says this,
I will in no way fail you or leave you without support. This is so important to remember because we can have the attitude, where is God when I need him? Why is this problem happening to me? No, just because your mind is saying one thing doesn't mean that God isn't going to do what he said. God has never failed us in the past. He's not about to start right now.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Well, check out i9sports.com. With spring and summer registration open right now, including all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. i9sports.com, enter 1010 for a discount.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Local sports update brought to you by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. The Jacksonville Dolphins men's lacrosse team lost a close one to the 7th-ranked Duke Blue Devils on Saturday, 14-9. Although the start of the season off rough, 0-2, they're getting battle-tested from the jump as they kicked off their season with a road loss to 2nd-ranked Syracuse, who are arguably the best team in the country. Sophomore midfielder Jack Taylor led the scoring for the Dolphins on Saturday, tucking a hat trick in the back of the net with 3 assists to match. Attackman Nicky Brown and midfielder Dalton Hubbs each added 2 scores to the board, while freshman attackman Michael Clark scored once. The Dolphins will look to finally get into the win column this Saturday as they welcome the 1-0 Marist Red Foxes to Duval with face-off at 2. It's 81 degrees at 5:03 time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the program. Frank Frangie and Hays Carlyon. The Florida Gators are playing as well as anybody in the country. Doesn't even seem to matter who gets hurt. They just keep on keeping on. What a run for this team. My buddy Chris Harry covers them on the road and at home for FloridaGators.com. Nobody knows the team better. He joins us now on the program. Chris, what a run for these guys. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, Frank. How are you?
We are doing great. I got to tell you,
I got to give you guys credit because it started in Jacksonville, right?
Well, not only did we told the story the other day on the air. We were laughing about this. It did start here. Mm-hmm. So you came and joined us, okay?
Yes, I did.
We're right there at the arena, and you're sitting there with me, Hayes and me, and you looked at us and you go, "Look, these guys are really good." And I said, "You said, I mean, as good as the best team since 14."
I did say that best team in 10 years, yeah, and I also said, I said either they may not win, because the league was so good, they may not win a bunch of games, but I said this was the most talented team.
Yeah, and you had that, Hayes and I were talking about this earlier in the week or last week. You had that look about you like you were convinced they're like really, really good. I remember thinking, well, they haven't won a tournament game in a lot of years. You knew something, bro. I mean, because they're really good. What did you see? And whether it's off-season workouts or talking to Todd or, I mean, how? Because obviously he felt that way too, I assume. What did you guys see, Chris, that you knew this group would be this good?
Well, I think you got to it starts with the head coach. This is the guy who spent 2 years as a assistant coach for Bruce Pearl. Also played for him in some summer games in Israel. Knows him very well. Bruce Pearl is one of the best coaches in the country, and he's certainly among one of the elite program builders in the country. And Todd is a very, very, very smart person, and he's kind of patterned himself after it. He knows how he wants to play. Okay, and I think we talked about it then. He wants 3 guards who can score, and he wants 2 bigs to play through.
Right.
And he's not deviating from that. He doesn't like zone defense. He hasn't played out of one position. People can say, "Oh, they're going to play zone against the Missouri or do all this stuff." He's not doing it. He has his blueprint. He recruits to it. He coaches to it. He believes in it, and his players believe in it. And there's a synergy between the staff and the coach, and the staff and the players that is just very evident in the gym. And I saw it I saw what they had in Elijah Martin, obviously, and you've seen him over the last couple of years. He was as visible as any player because of that Cinderella nature of that outstanding 2 seasons he had down at Florida Atlantic when he was one of the best players on a team that won 60 games.
Right.
I knew what Ruben Chinileo was capable of. I know people probably don't think of him as one of the better players on the team, but he's a role player and he knows what his role is. And I knew how much better Alex Condon and Thomas Hawk had become. And I'm sure we're going to get to them, but I'm telling you, these guys are great basketball players, man. And they believe in their coach, they believe in themselves, and what they did. I've had three people at the gym, and another guy was walking my neighborhood saying, "Man, how about that game last night?" I'm like, "What about the game Saturday?"
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
right.
it's like one game after another, and it's after every press conference. Todd goes, "I'm just extremely proud of my players." This is a great game for us, is what he says, and he's been saying it a lot because he has a lot to be proud of with these guys.
What kind of legacy do you think Walter Clayton Jr. is going to leave?
Well, I mean, I think right now he's on pace to be the highest scoring player at Florida. I want to say maybe in 25 years. I have to double check that. I mean, what he's done, Hays, the last couple games in terms of floor generaling. He had the 9 assists at Auburn. I think he only had 2 turnovers. He had 6 assists. He had 6 rebounds and just 1 turnover last night. And these are hostile environments that he's playing in the last couple games, obviously. He's an elite scorer. And, this trivia question, who's the last first-team All-American in Florida basketball history?
Never had one.
Never had one.
They've never had
one.
No.
Yeah, they never had one. And I'm not sure they've had a second.
Right.
Maybe Neil Walk. Maybe. But the way they did it back then was a lot different. So you asked me what his legacy is. I mean, he's playing like certainly like one on the first, second, or third team All-American. Just how they finish out the season, how he finished out the season, how the Gators finish out the season. His legacy is going to be he's as elite a scorer as they've had, in this program since. Go ahead. Who?
Well,
who do you got?
You know what?
Who do you got?
I didn't know if I can come up with one. I'll tell you this. I think not counting what they became in the NBA. I mean, Bradley Beal was a very high lottery pick. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you did at the college level. I was around for Moten and Maxwell, bro. And Brown and Cross, and I think he's one of the best guards they've ever. I mean, Roberson scored a lot, but I think he's one of the best 2 or 3 guards they've had in the history of the program. Am I overstating that?
No, you're not overstating it, and you just a winning player.
Yes.
Okay? I mean, what I tell you, who I thought was an incredibly talented player who just didn't have the killer in him was Kayvon Allen. Incredibly talented scorer.
Yep.
A great athlete, can score at all 3 levels, but he didn't want to all the time.
Right.
And if things got a little rough, he was hanging out, on the outside. Walter's not like that. Walter's a winning player. He's an alpha male, and he has that it factor when it comes to he has the Scotty Wilbekin killer instinct gene. But he's a more elite scorer, and obviously he's a phenomenal shooter who really doesn't have any range. His range is in the gym, as they say.
It really is. Let's talk about that front court. First of all, I buried the lead a little bit. Any update you have on Alex Condon, give us if there's anything to report. And secondly, the way he and Houck play together. And I agree, Chinyalu's very important. He's a man in there, and they don't want to be without him. But when Houck and Condon are in there together, the way they feed off each other, the way they can all do everything, they can make threes. They're great rebounders. It's amazing. How has that come together so well? But start off with any update on Alex's health.
The X-rays are negative. Treatment will be around the clock for him. I watched what they did with Walter when he rolled his ankle at excuse me, at Tennessee. The difference is obviously he finished that Tennessee game probably just on sheer desire and heart more than anything else. He certainly was a shadow of the player he was. What they do, they now have machines you take home and you stick and you sleep in them that they compress your leg and they keep your leg cold and send ice through your leg and stuff overnight. And they have these things you wear that send electric shocks through your legs. I see the guys that are going, oh, like it hurts.
Right.
But
right.
it's good for the recovery. So that's going to go on. A lot. We haven't talked about Elijah Martin yet.
Yeah.
Elijah Martin hasn't played the last 2 games either.
Right.
And you just hope maybe by the time they play South Carolina on Saturday, it will have been, I think, 11 days since he suffered that hip pointer.
Right.
Maybe that's enough time. But the last 2 games, the day before, Todd has said, I think he's going to play, and he hasn't played in either game. Condos is probably a little more difficult with that ankle. It looked really, really bad, and you just should have seen the relief on the guys' faces when they heard that he had not, that there was no structural damage, that it was just going to be, those guys have all rolled their ankles countless times playing basketball their whole lives. So, and let's not discount how tough this guy is. Remember, He was an Australian rules football player. His dad was an Australian rules football player. If there's a chance, whenever he's available to play, if it's at 80%, I think you'll see Alex Condon on the floor.
And boy, are he and Houck good together. What a pair for. I mean, I can't believe how good they are. I didn't know. I don't follow recruiting very closely, but one guy's from Pennsylvania that not many people wanted. The other guy, like you said, we've heard the story a bunch of times. The Australian football and the water polo. What a pair of front court players when they're in there together, Chris.
Yeah, and something that's underappreciated about them is, the numbers are starting to stack up, or their passing ability. And Condon gets the ball in the block and he sees cutters, and he can get guys get the shooters floating on the 3-point line. Thomas Hawk's pass in transition last night to Denzel Aberdeen, where he just gave the guy just one little look left and threw the ball between him on the right. From my spot on the floor, I thought he'd thrown it between his legs, so I was going, okay, that's enough of that. But 8 assists for that guy. Condon's had several games this season when he's had 4 assists. So they do have it going. And we'll go just to mention what Ruben does as good as any probably big in the country is when those guards start coming downhill, he'll take that body and just box out and just clear out a lane for him. Now, you can get called for an offensive foul sometimes. He doesn't, because all he has to do is plant his body. He's too strong, and he creates that lane for those guys on those duck ends. And it's all part of it's all rolled into what they do offensively. It's all a plan. I can't speak to how the difference that Kevin Hubday, the offensive coordinator, last year had the highest scoring team in Florida basketball history. But John Andrzejczyk, who they put in charge of the defense, Florida's defense last year, as we talked about, was 94th in the country. Well, right now they're number 8 in the country.
Wow.
Florida's one of 3 teams, along with Duke and Houston, which is in the top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. And I believe the last 11 national champions have been in the top 20 in both. So that was a metric that Todd has been focusing on. They talk about numbers, man, and they want to see those numbers because they believe those numbers bleed out and into results at the end of the season.
We still have a few weeks left of the regular season, but Chris, what do you think is Florida's path to getting a 1 seed?
Well, winning, obviously. I know that I'm not trying to be sarcastic when I say that, but look at the gauntlet they just went through. It's funny that I remember being in Knoxville during 10. People like tweeting at me said this team is trash and like
of course they were.
What's going on? Like, yeah.
Of course they were.
right. It's some game. A lot of these people don't remember. Like UConn got beat by 19 in a game last season. Right. So it's one game. You're allowed some clunkers in a basketball game. People have that football mentality or whatever. But I mean, to be able to go at that point, they were about to play 4 games against ranked teams. Now Vanderbilt fell out of the rankings, but to win the last 2 games on the road are huge. Those are 2 big quad ones. The next 4 games, I'm going off the top of my head here. It's home against South Carolina, home against Oklahoma, at LSU, at Georgia. So you look at those are teams in the lower half of the league. They got 21 wins right now. They got to pad that. You'd say, can you win 3 of those? You kind of hope you can. Can you win? Should you win 4? They'll probably be favored in every one of those. After that, they got 4 straight quad ones to end the season. I believe it's Alabama, it's Texas A&M, it's Ole Miss to finish the season, and there's one more.
I think that's it. I think it's just those 3, but 3 really tough games. Yeah.
It's just those 3. Okay. So those would be resume builders. And I think in a perfect world, a 1 seed. Right now, they're talking about getting a high seed in that SEC tournament. How they approach the SEC tournament after what happened last year, that's something they'll talk about in the coach's office. But Todd said last night after the game, he goes, we're trying to win a championship here, because they know, like Auburn, and they're 2 games behind Auburn and Alabama, tied for first, and those teams play twice more, so they can get in the mix if they win. And if you are one of the top 2 teams in the SEC, I think you're going to be a 1 seed. And, maybe there could be 3 1 seeds in the Southeastern Conference this year, the way this league is. So a long answer, a rambling one. But they're going to have to beat some of those really good teams on their schedule, and they're probably going to have to win a big game in the SEC tournament, at least one, I would think, to be in that conversation. But at the end, when they're seeding the tournament, and you look down at Florida, Florida's got 28 wins. It's going to be like a 28 and 6 record in the SEC, 29 and 6. That's a 1 seed, I think. Yeah,
and I think you're exactly right. Final thing, all right, as they go down the stretch, when everybody's healthy, will Klavzar stay in the rotation? Will Alexis come out of the rotation? Will they play 3 instead of 4 big guys? Well, what's your, and I know there's no definitive answer to this, Chris, but what's your answer when everybody's on the floor? Because the injuries have allowed Klavzar to make some shots, and I think he's an important part of this. What do you think?
He is an important part. Now, he's played, I think, 17 to 19 minutes the last few games. Is that going to happen? I don't think so. It'll probably be dropped down more to the 10 range, but I do think he's going to be in there because he's earned the trust because of his ability to make shots. I think they want Sam Alexis playing some minutes. They may not be the minutes Sam Alexis likes playing right now, but I do think they need him to play. And obviously, if Alex Condon can't go, he's going to have to play maybe 20 minutes in the game. But only in the Auburn game, it went kind of unnoticed. They hadn't played the 3 bigs at the same time all season until Auburn kept getting offensive rebounds and free throws.
Yep.
And so they put those 3 bigs in the game. So it takes something dire like that for him to switch his philosophy for what's on the floor. Who's available is another dire predicament that could bring that about. So we'll just see what comes about. But right now they're thinking about South Carolina, and they're not looking at South Carolina being 0-10 or 0-11 when they come in here. They know how South Carolina almost beat them up there in Columbia without their point guard, and their point guard is back in the lineup now.
Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. Great work, Chris, as always. We appreciate it on short notice, and my goodness, they're fun to watch. It's as fun a Florida team as we've seen in a long, long time. We'll check back with you down the road. Chris, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
Look forward to it, guys. Thank you very much for having me on.
All right, man. Chris Harry, one of my dear friends in the business, and really does a great job. Great job covering the Florida basketball team. He really, really does. He is a good dude and does a good job. It's Valentine's Day coming up. Do you know that?
Oh, how about that?
Have you heard?
I have.
Yeah, I know you got a calendar. I see you look at your calendar. There's Valentine's Day. It's the time. JJ, can we give away some romance?
We can.
Let's give away some romance.
We can make someone very happy, particularly a significant other of a listener.
Yeah.
So I have a $25 gift card to Flowers of Jacksonville. This is part of our 1010XL Valentine's Day gift guide. Visit 1010XL.com for more great gift ideas. Winners will be entered for a chance to win $1,000 for Beard's Diamonds at the Town Center.
Wow.
So not only do you win a $25 gift card for flowers for your lady, you are entered to win $1,000 from Beard's Diamonds.
Wow, that is fantastic stuff. We doing what caller? What caller you want to do that?
Let's go with 5. Caller number 5.
Caller 5 at 641-1010 right now. Hayes has headlines after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Living in Duval. Loving Duval.
Duval, man.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Hays Carlyon here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish family, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation, with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we want it, we got to bring
my thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hays Blog on 1010XL.com.
Hammond, Valentine's Day is coming up. Got any romantic plans?
Dad, I'm married to Clean Air. My plan is to help Jacksonville families breathe easier.
You're helpless, but Clean Air does sound nice. Can duct cleaning really help?
Absolutely. Dust, allergens, even odors can build up in your ducts. Cleaning them now makes your air fresher and healthier for your family. The EPA says better indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So cleaning ducts are like Valentine's Day gift for the house.
Exactly. Forget chocolates. Fresh air lasts longer and doesn't melt. Plus, we've got a February special, $100 off your total.
All right, sign me up. Maybe fresh air will make Mom fall in love with me again all over.
You'll have to take her to dinner for that, but cleaner air will definitely help.
Fair enough. Jacksonville, if you're ready to show your home some love, Google Zerorez and read over 7,000 five-star reviews. Zerorez.
Spelled Florida backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Cerorez.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind.
Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projectsroofingfl.com.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Give a unique gift this Valentine's Day to that special person in your life with a custom-made candle or body care product from Wick, a candle bar. Locations in San Marco and Jax Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. We've got Frank Frangie, JJ LaSelva. I'm Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we are going to start with the Jaguars, who will be introducing the new coordinators tomorrow. Heath Farwell will be among the group as well, the special teams coordinator that was retained by first-year head coach Liam Cohen. But Grant Udinski and the star of the show tomorrow, I would imagine, defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile, will be on hand for the first time to field questions about their vision for their respective sides of the ball.
Yeah, Heath has certainly earned his stripes. You know they're going to be good. They have the best kicker, punter, and deep snapper combination in the league. They're going to be very good, and Heath's done a great job with them. Grant Udinski will have a big role. He will have to build the game plan along with Liam and along with Trevor, but Liam will call the plays. But Grant Udinski, don't kid yourself, will be very involved. But you're right, Anthony Campanile, that's the question. That's the one that everybody wants to ask questions. Are you a 4-3? Are you a 3-4? Do you play man? Do you play a lot of zone? Is it cover 2? Is it Tampa 2? What are you doing? I think there will be a lot of questions, and I don't know how much he'll answer about all that. But I also think he's an energy guy. I think we all know he's an energy guy. We've all seen the clips from Hard Knocks. So, yeah, he's the star of the group tomorrow. It'll be fun to hear what he's got to say.
Without a doubt. A couple of notes from around the NFL I want to get to. Travis Kelce is now saying he's going to take some time before making a decision on retirement prior to the Super Bowl. Kelce said, no doubt I'm coming back. But following the debacle against the Eagles, now the 35-year-old Kelce, who just finished his 12th season, does say he's going to take some time. Really, to be honest, from his comments, sounds like to me like a guy that's getting ready to retire.
I think he's going to come back. I think Patrick Mahomes and others said there's a lot of football left. There aren't many guys that walk away when something's left. There's some, but there aren't many guys that walk. You've got the rest of your life to not play. I don't think the problem he's going to have, Hayes, if he try to compare Travis Kelce to Travis Kelce, he's not the same player. But the Travis Kelce of right now, the guy that we saw in the game today, is still a decent NFL tight end, but he's not an elite NFL tight end. Can a guy that was elite, is he willing to play as a good tight end, not an elite one? And that's the question he's got to ask.
Absolutely. We were all stunned when the Texans fired Bobby Slowick as offensive coordinator. He has reemerged. The Miami Dolphins have hired Slowick as passing game coordinator.
Yeah, he's really a highly regarded guy in the passing game, and they're hoping he'll connect with Tua like he did at least with C.J. Stroud 2 years ago. More than last year. That was a bizarre deal. Here's a guy that was up for all these jobs. He was loyal to the Texans, so he stayed, and I don't know if he didn't get an offer or if he decided to stay, but nonetheless, he was one of the hottest names in that always hot young offensive coordinator world, and all of a sudden he's out of work. So good for him. He's back with the Dolphins.
Interesting nugget in college football today. National champion Ohio State is hiring Matt Patricia to be its defensive coordinator.
You know, I think Matt Patricia, doesn't he live here in the offseason?
I think so.
I think he lives in Jacksonville, in the Jacksonville area in the offseason, in St. Johns County, I think. Look, he's a good football coach. There's been some up and down. Wasn't a good head coach. Wasn't a good offensive coordinator when Bill Belichick decided to do that. But Matt Patricia's a good football coach, and I'm not surprised at all. Ohio State lost Jim Knowles to Penn State. I can tell you this. I'm probably talking out of turn, but I'm going to tell you anyway. When they lost Jim Knowles to Penn State, it was for $3 million. They offered the job to Joe Cullen, our friend who's the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line coach, just like Michigan did last year. That's not the job he was interested in. He talked to him about it. He talked to Ryan Day 2 or 3 times. Ryan Day talked to his agent, Frank Bauer, a few times. And at the end of the day, Joe didn't want the job. He's staying with the Chiefs. So in comes a guy that I think is a good football coach. So I'm not surprised at all that Matt Patricia lands in Columbus.
But he's no Vinny Sunseri.
No Vinny Sunseri. Joe Cullen, that might have been the job Joe Cullen wanted, but he's no Vinny Sunseri.
Wow. Unbelievable. Moving on to college basketball. Number 3, Florida shows its resolve in an 81-68 win at Mississippi State, a solid quad 1 win. The Gators played without guard Elijah Martin and lost Alex Condon to an ankle injury 30 seconds into the game, but used a 17-0 run to start the second half to cruise. Thomas Houck with a career game off the bench. 16 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks.
I told you this earlier. I'll say it again. Coming off the Auburn win, the letdown, the obvious letdown from that win. Again, playing without Martin. Losing Condon for essentially the entire game. So down 2 starters. Down at half by a point on the road against a ranked team at a tough place to play. That 17-zip run might have been as impressed as I've been with Florida all year long. They have a really good team. They have a team that could get to the Final Four. They've got a team that could get to the final game. They've got a team that could win the whole thing. I don't know if any of that's going to happen. When you get to the Final Four, it's hard when you're playing against teams like UConn or whoever that are used to being there, and you're not. But it's a team talented enough, well-coached enough, mentally tough enough to win the whole damn thing. It really is.
Absolutely. Todd Golden says that Condon's injury is not severe, so that's good news. The win improved Florida's record to 21-3 overall and 8-3 in SEC play. That ties UF with Texas A&M, who comes to Gainesville in a few weeks, for 3rd place behind Alabama and Auburn.
Yeah, I'll say this, Hayes. I was the one that didn't think they could get through this 4-game stretch nearly as well as they did. I feared 1-3. I hoped for 2-2. They got through with 3-1. They're playing very, very well. Yeah, I said get to 10 wins in the league. Bro, I think now they're looking at 12 wins in the league, 11 or 12. They're better than even when I realized how good they were, they're better than I thought they were.
And it was a rough night to be a favorite in college basketball last night. Number 5, Tennessee lost to 15th-ranked Kentucky. Number 7, Purdue lost to 20th-ranked Michigan. Number 11, Michigan State lost at home to unranked Indiana. And number 13, Arizona lost to unranked Kansas State. The Gators did move up a spot to number 4 in the net rankings, jumping the Vols.
Yeah, I'll say this. Tennessee's really good. Kentucky matches up really well with them. Tennessee's not going to get swept very often under Rick Barnes. They got swept by Kentucky. Kentucky played really well against them.
Number 1, Auburn, and number 2, Alabama remain on a collision course. The Tigers went to Vandy and won 80-68, while the Tide traveled to Texas and routed the Longhorns 103-80. Auburn and Alabama lead the SEC at 10-1 and face off Saturday for the first time this season.
Yeah, it is, and they play twice. And so, look, Florida's 2 games back. I think Florida's going to beat South Carolina, who's winless in the league, on Saturday night. And Auburn, Alabama, one of them going to lose. So Florida's going to be 1 game behind the loser and 2 games behind the winner. Florida's got a chance to beat Alabama. If Florida wins out, they can win the league. They will have beaten Auburn and Alabama. They will finish at 15-3 in the league with wins over both of those teams, a split with Tennessee. Florida, and they get Texas A&M at home. So it'll be, I'm not saying they're going to win the league, but they could.
Yeah, absolutely. A devastating loss for Mike White in Georgia at Texas A&M. The Bulldogs built a 32-23 halftime lead, but were destroyed 46-21 in the second half to lose 69-53. The Aggies went on a 22-0 second half run. The Bulldogs are 2-7 in their last 9 games. They are 35th in the net rankings, but moving to the wrong side of the bubble with a 2-9 record in quad 1 games.
Yeah, they ran out of gas. They looked like a good team early on, but you could tell I saw Florida bury them in the O-Dome. You could tell that Georgia team ran out of gas right about midseason.
We will get you out on our musical note of the day. Happy heavenly birthday to Doors keyboardist Ray Manzarek, who would have turned 86 today. Manzarek created the Doors' unique sound, co-founding the band with frontman Jim Morrison in 1965. The Doors were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993. Manzarek died in 2013 at the age of 74. This is Light My Fire.
In the 60s and 70s, that great rock era, the introduction to rock, they don't get enough credit. It's one of the great bands of that era, which is the era in rock and roll. The Doors, the great Doors. Well done as always.
Thank you.
Back to wrap the program after this.
The time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
As the NBA heading into the All-Star break this weekend in San Francisco, the Boston Celtics are the betting favorites to win the championship this year. Boston is at plus 220. While the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are on top of the Western Conference, they are plus 230 to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who have the best record in the East, are plus 750. The New York Knicks, third place in the East at plus 1,300. The Denver Nuggets, third place in the West at plus 1,400. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the runaway betting favorite to win the MVP award. The Oklahoma City Thunder is minus 700. Denver's Nikola Jokic is at plus 425 to win the MVP. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Love is in the air this February, but nothing kills the mood like a plumbing or HVAC problem. Whether it's a leaky pipe, a backed up septic tank, or your heater isn't keeping things cozy, don't worry. We've got you covered. Call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. Our expert team is here to keep your home running smooth, no matter the issue. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckrooter.com.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
I'm Renee Harrell. At Harrell & Harrell, we understand when you've been in an accident, there's a lot to handle. You've lost pay, and now the medical bills are piling up. When there isn't much insurance, some attorneys will pay your bills, take their fee, leaving you with even less than them. Not at Harrell & Harrell. We'll work hard to reduce your medical bills, and we promise our fee will never be more than you take home. Call us today, 904-251-1111. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here. And, a year ago, February 20th to be exact, is when I started on my Awaken 180 journey. At that point, I weighed 317 pounds. I was in a bad way, man. There's no other way to describe it. I was in a bad way. And now here we are, basically a year later, and I'm down over 115 pounds. And it's all thanks to the best weight loss program I've ever been on. I tried a lot of different things over the years. Nothing ever worked. Awaken 180 worked like a charm. Again, the best weight loss program I've ever been on. If it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, do yourself a favor. Do your family a favor. And go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com. Look, if I can do it, you can do it. And you could be their next success story. Do it today at Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
If you'd like to try something different this year for Valentine's Day, you'll find great gift ideas from
Beard's Diamonds and Jacksonville Flower Market.
Find everything you need to know at 1010XL.com. Happy Valentine's Day from 1010XL.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Valentine's Day is almost here. You can't get away with just a card this year. Beard's Diamonds is here to save the day and your wallet.
Oh, and it gets better. Every purchase between now and Valentine's Day comes with a free dinner at Fogo de Chao.
Beard's Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Looking for a great place to enjoy some craft creations and soak up some scenery? Fernandina's Mocama Beer Company is a must-see and must-try. Nassau County knows it. Visitors need to find out about it. Mocama means near the big water where the sun is born. And if you visit their tap room in Fernandina Beach, you'll see how they've mastered equal parts precision and art in creating great flavors from IPAs to Pilsners, lagers, and sours, plus plenty more. Mocama.com, Mocama Beer Company. Start an adventure and find them in Fernandina.
Hi, I'm Paris Owens representing Morris Children's Health, Jacksonville. We are so grateful to the players for helping us create the healthiest generation of children. See you at the Kids Zone in 27 days at the Players Championship.
If you're cooking for your sweetheart this weekend, Southern Steer Butcher has you covered. An easy-choose Valentine's Day special menu with the best meats in town. Full V-Day flyer at southernsteer.com.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here from the Blue Crab Crab House. February means the Mardi Gras menu returns to the Blue Crab Crab House. Gumbo, shrimp Orleans, blackened redfish, appetizers, dessert, and more. This includes, of course, the regular menu where you get crabs from the Alaskan waters, the Canadian waters, the Southern Georgia waters. It's only at the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30, San Jose, and of course, Jewington Creek Road.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, where we've been on the program today, let's wander through it. We have certainly talked a great deal about Gator basketball. Fantastic win last night without two starters. They continue just keeping on. In fact, Chris Harry joined us on the program today. Nobody covers the Gators closer. He's from FloridaGators.com, and he's kind enough to join the program on a regular basis. And what a good win for them. Brett Hastings was here earlier at Sports and Courts. We talked a little bit about Title IX, and will it be subject, or will NIL be subject to Title IX restrictions? The Biden administration said yes. The Trump administration more recently said no. We'll certainly keep an eye on that. We've talked a little bit about the NFL next year, the power polls, and we got you ready for Grant Udinsky, Anthony Campanile, and, of course, Heath Farwell. The three coordinators will meet with the media tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock, and that's where we've been on the course of the show today. I do have a theory, by the way. You know my theory on good job, bad job in college basketball. I think there's a handful of elite jobs in college basketball. I think there is there's a handful of blue bloods. North Carolina, Duke, and Kentucky, and Kansas, and Indiana, and UCLA, but UConn, but it's a small list. Okay, I believe there's one elite job in the SEC, and that's Kentucky. I think it's one. But I do believe Alabama and Auburn and Florida and LSU and Texas and Oklahoma and Tennessee have the resources that if they get the right coach, they can be very good. I believe all the money football has made over the last 20 years, more of it than ever has been poured into basketball, which is why the SEC has passed the ACC. I think we all know there's way more money that goes to football schools in the SEC, right? I don't think it's a coincidence, Hayes, that all of a sudden the SEC is taking that money and paying Chris Beard and Bruce Pearl and Todd Golden and Rick Barnes and on and on and on. It's my opinion that it's not a coincidence that you blink and all of a sudden the SEC, which was not good in basketball, is ridiculously good and has passed the ACC. It's a direct And when Mike Frangie went to work for the league and Greg Sankey hired him, the former Big East commissioner, to build basketball, I think the first thing he's talked about, Hays, was resources. You got them. Nobody's got more resources than the SEC. Nobody. Well, pour some of those resources into basketball, namely your coach, and I think that's why the SEC's turned the corner.
Guess how many schools in the net rankings top 25 the ACC has?
One. Yeah, Duke. And I wouldn't have guessed that because except for the way you asked it.
Right. Clemson's not. Clemson is ranked highly in the human polls, but they're 27th. And,
one in the top 25.
One in the top 25.
The SEC has how many?
Oh, boy. How much time in the show do we have left? They've got 1 Auburn, 4 Florida, 5 Tennessee, 6 Bama, 12 A&M, 15 Kentucky, 21 Ole Miss, 22 Missouri.
Okay.
So
that's 8.
So they have 8 in the top 22.
So of the net, which is the national evaluation tool that the NCAA uses to pick its tournament, of the top 25 in that net, which is the RPI, which is the barometer, there's 8 SEC teams and 1 ACC team. Well, that's comical.
It's big time.
Now, part of the net is strength of schedule, and because those SEC teams keep playing each other, their net's going to be good. But that's amazing. So, but that's my theory: is all this money that's going to the SEC schools, all the resources, have finally gone into basketball some, and I think that's why they're winning. It's not a coincidence,
without a doubt. And I also think it also has become in vogue to be good in basketball. I think 25 years ago, a lot of the schools in the SEC viewed it as, if we can be good in men's basketball, that's great. But it's really Kentucky's thing. Right. We want to win in football. What can we do? Let's give it, if we have an extra $1, let's give it to the football program. Whereas now I think because of Kentucky's always been great. Florida now over the last quarter century has been one of the best programs in the country when you look at how many Elite Eights, Final Fours they've made. Obviously, Florida's won 2 national titles. So I think Florida embraced it. I think the league kind of saw that. Okay, so now you've got Kentucky, you've got Florida, and they were willing. Schools started to become more willing to take chances on coaches. I mean, when Auburn hired Bruce Pearl, it was controversial.
No question.
Well, now it looks like a complete genius move 11 years later because he's built one of the best programs at Auburn. And so I think it's also become cool is the wrong word, but it has become a goal to be elite in men's basketball for a lot of these SEC schools, whereas I don't think that was ever really a high priority outside of a few of them.
One other very quick thing about the college basketball. Old guys rule. Rick Pitino is 72. Tom Izzo is 70. Rick Barnes is 70. Kelvin Sampson is 69. Bruce Pearl is 65. Did you realize that?
That's unbelievable.
And Coach K was in his 70s. But Pitino 72, Tom Izzo 70, Rick Barnes 70.
Leonard Hamilton 76.
You just loved watching Blue walk right across it, didn't you?
That was for Rick.
The Kelvin Sampson 69 and Bruce Pearl 65. I can't think of a better segue to welcome in my friend Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
We haven't talked about the fact that Lenny's moving on, have we? We haven't talked about that, have we? We've kind of missed that.
I fired that guy 23 years ago. I was in Chicago with Mike DeCourcy, and I fired him. Mike DeCourcy's like, you don't know what you're talking about. He's great for Florida State. Who else are they going to get? And he kind of made an accurate point. Who else is Florida State going to get? But one of the worst in-game coaches I've ever seen. He is literally roll the ball out and let him play. Great recruiter and a fantastic human being.
Yeah, good man. Yeah, he is.
Just a terrible in-game coach.
What happens to the guy that's the bad dresser guy now? The guy with the maroon coats. And,
Stan Jones. Yeah, Stan Jones.
I mean, worst dresser in college basketball.
Right. I think they're going to retire one of his suits, raise it to the rafters. He got it like Woolworths in 1977. And
I have no doubt.
Who do you want them to hire? Do you have anybody?
Shelton Young he's an assistant in Missouri. Okay. He was a good recruiter.
They can't get Gates.
They've let him
big a buyout.
gone, they went down a little bit ever since he left. Yeah. He was a good recruiter. Who's that?
The Gates, the head coach of Missouri. No chance.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd be lying to you.
Somebody texted.
Put a lot of effort into this so far. I mean,
somebody said me on Twitter that his buyout would be too big.
Okay,
so I don't. But he's a really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're right. Charlton Young is too. So maybe
can we trade a coach for him? Mike Norvell. Can we trade Mike Norvell for him?
I might have guessed where you were going there. So all right, we get to meet the coordinators tomorrow.
Yeah.
And what else coming up tonight on your show?
Some interesting stuff from the media, national media. Some of it really good. Some of it just absolutely outrageous. I often joke that there are good members of the national media, which we have on Pete Prisco, for instance, who knows a lot about the Jaguars, but
knows his stuff.
Even though we're entering year 31, there still are people who talk and write about this team who have no idea.
Good point.
And it reminds me of the nights we spent in Hoover, Alabama. Sometimes it would go late into the evening, and all of a sudden we had to get up at 6:30, 7 in the morning to get ready for that Mississippi State address.
That's right.
And I'd be fighting off that hangover, trying to get a couple of winks. When Mississippi State came up, I was like, do I really have to talk about Mississippi State? That's the way some of the national media treats these Jaguars.
I get it. Yeah.
A report that I saw today, I don't know if you saw the overview on Yahoo, is one of the most obscene things I have ever written. I'm going to start with it. It's absolutely fantastic. The author on it, I'm sure, put in his effort, but I have no idea who he spoke to because he makes 3 points, and all 3 of them are completely dead wrong. So we're going to start with that. Should have a little bit of fun.
All right, we certainly will. Thank you, Rick. Rick goes into the night. That happens right now. That'll do it for our program. Tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. We have a Duval County Scholar Athlete of the Week and a whole lot more coming up on our Thursday program. That'll do it. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.